We can also see the Spanish team and the GBR team really close to one another. They are both up at the boat end. We've got the Netherlands team, number one, defending that pin, but also a late charge by the Danish team, Schutt and Nielsby, just having a little bit of a sniff of that pin end with 40 seconds to go. Heaps of space for these girls.
Yeah, and a team to watch out for after what we saw at the last Worlds will be Anna-Marie Beckering and Anita Duitz. They were real strong in Auckland and a lot of wind, so just watch out for them. They're currently in 8th position. They certainly can't get on the podium, but they could move up a couple of places with a strong performance.
Final 15 seconds now. These guys are lining up and quite closely bunched together considering how big this start line.
So coming down to the start, it's close. The boat, the Danish boat right down on the pins, very close. And we're underway, and there's boats well bow forward with it's USA 50 look to have got a very strong start, and that is Rubel and Scheer. Then down to Leeward, we've got 49 from Denmark there, nicely bell for that Schutt and Nielsby.
Tough start for the Netherlands team. The girls have just had to sail quite a low way to get their bow forward.
Good start in the middle of the line there by GBR 7, Charlotte Dobson and Saskia Tidy.
Really applying the pressure to the Spanish team that are a fair 2 boat lengths back and 2 boat lengths to windward as well.
Yeah, they were real bow forward, GBR 7. I like their style. Where's the Spanish team? We're looking, yeah, they're sort of covered up a little bit back.
And we just have heard from the race committee that there has been an individual recall. Goodness, I hope it's not the Spanish. They're turning
Spain have gone
around.
back. That's a revelation. Whoa, that changes the game. And also back go the Netherlands. So the boats, it'll be interesting. I'm not sure if we can get to a replay or not. There's many boats peeling off and going back. You're saying, Nina, it was an individual recall?
We're just going to check in with Olivia on the water to get a little bit more information. Olivia, are you there?
There was a little bit of confusion. We were sitting on the pin end of the line, and we had Denmark 49 sitting very close to the line at the pin end, the pin boat. Now, we did hear a second hooter and a flag go up on the race committee vessel. It was then unfurled after a few seconds and showing an individual recall flag. However, there has been a race official boat going in front of the fleet holding a general recall flag. So there's a lot of confusion going on in this fleet, and I would assume they would have to abandon this race and start again, because that's just a little bit of a mix-up and confusion, and certainly not adhering to race committee standards.
Controversy, golly. So the call, individual recall, but there's a committee boat or one of the race management boats have shown a general recall. Yeah, regardless, it's going to be abandoned, and they will go back. But how filthy do you think Charlotte Dodson and Saskia Tidy are going to be? Because they were on fire as if they weren't over the line.
And you can see some of the race committee boats screaming up to these sailors. And, you'd be doing the exact same thing until you've seen a flag and you're 100% sure your race as usual.
As soon as multiple boats start peeling back, you sort of think, oh, yep.
There they go.
There they go. Well, that's a little bit unfortunate. It seems like there's a whole bunch of things that come into play there in terms of the racing rules, and I think prudent decision by race management to say, well, we've got no option but to blow this one off, pull the boats back. But unfortunate.
And this will be a wonderful test for these sailors. Probably not at the right time, but better late than never, for them to stand up to this challenge and get back in, find that mindset again and get ready to restart.
Yeah, it's the old if only, if only that race had carried on, because Echegayen and Barcelo were well covered up, and GBR 7, Dobson and Tidy were bow forward and screaming, but it's not to be. It's start again, go back, and go through the procedure.
And we might just check in with Olivia, just get a little bit of an update on the conditions out there. We can see on the tracker, Olivia, that we've got 19 knots. Are you feeling those conditions out there as well?
can you just repeat that for me?
We're just checking in with the conditions. I was saying that we're reading like 18 to 19 knots on the tracker. Is that what you're seeing out there?
Yeah, it's definitely picked up out here on the race course, and I think it's more consistent across the entire course as well. You know, we were talking about being streaky this morning with the patches of wind. However, we're not seeing that this afternoon. We've seen this increase that was forecasted, as well as an increase in chop as well. So it's a little bit bumpier out here for this FX medal race than it was for even the NACRA 17 medal race. So, you know, the crews will have to build that into their choices for their settings as well as their race strategy.
And Olivia, if that was you out there with this restart, how would you be approaching this next 5 minutes? We'll stay in the communication. We'll stay in here. But I think that this is going to be a real test of these athletes out here, especially the GBR duo Dobson and Tidy, to turn around because they were in such a commanding position off the start line. Interesting to hear that the conditions have changed again from this morning, and so we're going to see maybe another layer of these sailors and how they handle these conditions.
Yeah, and gradually increasing. Yeah, the conditions are changing, but there's no secret in that. I mean, it was forecast to be building even up into the early 20s. Looking at what's just gone on, I think the role of the support or the coach on the water is vital to reset, to put the sailors back in the right frame of mind. And for the GBR team of Charlotte Dodson and Sashika Tidy, I think the role there of their coach Stevie Morrison will be vital. Now he's an Olympian, he knows the game, and I think to get alongside, just say, right, reset, you know, just take a breath, have a drink of water. Yeah, you might be a bit disappointed because you were strong, but at this level you would expect people just to say, yep, let it go, and catch your breath and go back into what's happening with the weather, what's happening at the top mark, what is the weather trending, and get back into race preparation mode and pre-start plan.
Make a great coach, Peter. That's exactly what the sailors should be keeping in their minds. They have.
Well, if you go into it with a confused mind, there's only one thing that's going to happen.
We're going to quickly throw to Chris in the boat park. I believe he has one of our NACRA medalists with him. Chris, can you hear me?
5-4. Awesome. We're live in the boat park with the bronze medalist after the medal race in the NACRA class, the bronze medalist in the World Championships. Lisa, we talked to you right before the race. Here we are. That was a tough race. We saw the little gold medal, bronze medal, silver medal jumping around all the time. How'd that work out for you?
It was pretty intense out there for anyone that was watching, the little tussle at the pre-start, but yeah, we got back into the game and we're pretty happy to get 2 medals in a row at 2 World Championships, so we'll take a 3rd.
That's fantastic. It looked like in the beginning of that race, you know, like even halfway through, you had all the options on the table. Was there a chance to win the gold?
Johnny Boy was a little far ahead for us to sneak that gold, but we just kind of had to consolidate, make sure the French didn't sneak in there. There was a lot going on out there, so just wanted to get a medal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. Congratulations on it. All right, let's walk over here. We have the world champions coming in. I think we're missing someone. No, there they are. Okay, we're going to stop and go back to the studio right now.
And we are back. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds to our medal race of the 49er FX. And this is a restart. If you were with us just before, these guys have had a start. There was a bit of a mix-up, but we did have, in the end, a general recall or an abandonment. And these guys are stacking up for their second attempt of this race.
Yeah, and we're seeing similar picture on this downwind down towards the pin end with Denmark 49, Netherlands 1. If you remember in the first start, they were also down towards the pin end. The majority of the fleet are mid-line and quite advanced on the line with just a minute to go.
and a little bit more separation between a few of the battles going on in the fleet. It looks like everyone's minding their own business so far and just focusing on that clean start. And sometimes the conditions can play into that. Now that it is quite a bit windier, these guys are probably just focusing on putting together a really good race.
Well, I think it's interesting to look. We're a Spain, we're a GBR in terms of each other. Who is going to push hard, because they're the two that are really fighting hard for gold and silver.
And it does look like Spain is just off the hip of the 2-pin boats, but under attack from one of the Australian teams who are sailing through right down into the pin end.
Interesting there that Spain tacked back onto port just to reduce the gauge between themselves and the GBR combination. And we do know that Echegoyen, as you very well know, she's pretty good at the old match race. And no, she bailed out of there. Now coming down towards the pin end. Can she lay through? No, that's going to be tough for Spain. That's an error by Spain. They really got caught out there by that late tack on towards the Brits. And then they couldn't lay the pin end. So who's it going to be? The regatta leaders are at the back of the pack, both heading off on port.
Yeah, what an upset. You can see the British team just keeping an eye on the Spanish team, putting that tack in. You know, not a spectacular start by those guys, but all they have to do is be ahead of one another. Denmark 49 flying out of the pin end. USA number 9 just above them, and the 2 USA teams keeping an eye on one another. And it is the German teams that are just to windward of that, and the rest of the fleet is now on port tack.
Yeah, interesting. And then I look up the course, I'm looking at the water, I see more pressure coming through. So I think there's pressure still coming on. It's in a lighter phase at the moment. We're down to 16 knots, but it's been all the way up to nearly 20 knots.
Lloyd and Ryan just putting it out to the right-hand side. They've really got the bow down, trying to get a little bit of speed up. They are the furthest right-hand boat. You can see them on the corner of your screen there. Echegoyen and Barcello and Dobson and Tardy are also sending it out to that side. Oh, God, there's a tussle there. These guys are close.
They look headed. You can see the tracking lines. In fact, there's the Australian boat has just tacked, so that's Tess Lloyd and Jamie Ryan. As they come back, they trail behind Echegoyen, Dobson, Sabisi. Get the feeling maybe this left-hand group look quite strong as they have not tacked. The group that have gone to the right, the first boat is tacked out of there but done effectively 2 extra tacks by the time they come back.
The tracker is slightly giving the advantage to Dobson and Tardy as it stands. They've just got their nose out in front, and it is the French team that have just held in on that bronze as it stands.
But it's big separation. In context of a medal race, these guys have just hammered all the way, and they'll go all the way to Port Anne Leyline. And it's US 9 in terms of this group. That's Paris Henkin and Anna Tobias. And we know from earlier today they look fast in this condition. They look fast again to me.
And there they go. All these boats have tacked over and they are, again, really close to that ley line, especially if they get a little bit of a lift over on this corner.
Yeah, how's it going to look? There's effectively, it's 5 and 5. You've got 5 boats in one corner in this left corner, and way over the other side also hitting ley line. You've got the remainder of the fleet. The group that the tracker is showing at the moment that are in the lead is actually this group here, so it should be, and it's showing that as Henkin and Tobias, Schutt and Nielsby, Rubel and Scheer, who are also in this left-hand group.
But of course that doesn't matter for our 2 current race leaders. The Spanish and the English are not concerned with the rest of the results. They are just trying to beat one another.
The match race at the back of the field, it's all this peculiar thing that happens because of the way the points and the way the medal race works. But we'll stay with the American combination. That's Henkin and Tobias as they head back on port. And it will depend on what angle. It looks like on the tracker that maybe the group coming in from the right a little doing quite well, although I still have Henkin, and so does the tracker ahead. The 2 American boats are strong, heading back towards the top mark for the first time.
can see that pressure and a little bit of sea state at the top mark. It's going to make that top mark really critical for these girls to get around cleanly, stay out of trouble and keep that mast upright.
Certainly not a lot of tacking. This group have only done the one tack. The group coming in from the right have done 2 tacks. What's a tack worth, Nina?
Much less compared to the NACRA. These guys are super efficient, but obviously you do slow down. You're at about half your speed when you do go through that tack. Maybe 2.
2 boat lengths? Okay, let's see how the cross goes then.
It does.
It's a wee bit more than that. So there's actually been a bit of a crank around, a bit of a left-hand shift that's benefited the 2 American boats. So you've got Henkin and Tobias, Rubel and Shear.
And that pack of 3 we just crossed with the French in the lead. They are short of ley line, so they still have 2 more tacks to complete. And so it will be this group pick the lay perfectly. The Americans even slightly overlay, but absolutely screaming in. It will be USA 9, Heineken and Tobias just getting that nice clean tack in before their US teammates, Robel and Shear, look like they'll be around in second, and Germany 55. Drzok and Lorenz in third place. So close. Denmark 49 getting around Schutt and Nilsby, and then Germany number 5, Lutz and Weermeis around as well.
Well, and it's indicating here that as we're looking at overall, Ichigayen's got a small advantage over Dobson and Tidy, but we'll come back to that once we see them on the downwind. So a bit of a delay there for the German boat. That's 5, which was Tina Lutz and Lotte Weimers. They got rolled on the hoist as Spain here. That's Spain 23, and it's Tamara Ichigayen.
Critical moment here. These guys absolutely nailed that set, and they are just moving forward on the French team. If they can get a boat between the British team, it will make life, just that little bit easier, and they are flying down this ley line.
So at Mark 1, in terms of the overall, it is the Spanish combination who are in the lead just in the overall. But in the race, it is Henkin and Tobias who will currently hold the bronze medal position with their countrymen, Robel and Shear behind. Victoria Yorksock from Germany in 3rd position.
And it does look like GBR 7, Dobson and Tidy have dropped down even another place again, while the Spanish steam forwards, it's really going to put the pressure on these guys to sail back up through the fleet on that upwind.
So it's Ichigayen who looks really fast on this downwind. There was a bit of a match race, bit of action going on between Ichigayen and Dobson in the pre-start. And at this stage, it's the Spanish team that hold the advantage. Beautiful jibe. Absolutely stunning jibe there by Ichigayen. The Jenica just blew through and set immediately. That'll be worth a boat length.
Another critical moment here as these guys come into the ley line. You can see the bottom 2 marks in the far distance on your screen. A few of the boats have just gone a little bit far beyond ley line, and that's just opened the door for the German team, Jurok and Lorenz, and they will be in the lead. She's just snuck around, and that could be another opportunity for Ichigayen to put another few...
It's a bit of carnage at the bottom mark. They were all on the wrong ley line, and they're late on their drops on the Jenicas, and this is a function of more breeze and pressure. But Germany survived. Then it will be USA 50 next. Then Denmark come round. No one swum. Who's next? And Ichigayen is also low on ley line, so they've got to get the Jenica down, get round behind Germany 5 and get round the mark as boats are coming crashing into the bottom mark. Whoa, it's all on. It's at the bottom mark. Is this going to open up opportunities? Boat handling in the breeze becomes a huge factor, so Ichigayen had to go all the way back to the right-hand mark because it was too congested here to do a jibe well.
What a shake-up in the results down the bottom. Boat handling has been absolutely critical.
And that's had a massive impact on the overall results, and now the position goes back. Now it's just Ichigayen, but that should have opened up the opportunity for Dobson and Tidy to get back in to that 1st division. I can't. Is that I can't quite
That's
see
the
them.
Australians at the bottom mark. They're Lloyd and Ryan. So Dobson and Tidy must be around the mark. I believe that they're one of the boats going out to that right-hand side.
Wow. But again, it comes down to what we saw, and this was even better illustrated, of picking up so quickly that bottom mark ley line, overlay, and then you're very pressed going into the gate.
Let's cross over to Olivia so she can unpack some of that action at the bottom mark. Olivia, are you there?
Yeah, wow, what an action-packed bottom mark, as you said, Nina. So we had the two American boats obviously battling it out for Olympic selection among themselves. They overlaid the bottom mark, so when they wanted to go drop their spinnakers, we had Roble and Shea in the lead, just about a boat length ahead of Henkin and Tobias, but both teams couldn't get their spinnakers down. They must have had a little bit of trouble, so they both got heeled over, and then Henkin and Tobias went to windward of Roble and Shea, and there was contact. So the spinnaker of Henkin and Tobias hit Roble basically on the head. She flagged, and then there was a penalty induced as well. Obviously, we saw the Australians have to come back and do some manoeuvring to get around the mark. It really was crazy.
And that will definitely it's a big move in the American team. We know that Roble and Shea have to be 4 positions ahead of Henkin and Tobias to secure their nation a spot, and that has just opened the door for those girls.
Well, to me, the fleet made an error there. They came around the top mark, and there's a lot of wind on. What are we now? It's still only 17, 18 knots. But it came down that basically they went too far on starboard. So when they jibed, and there's plenty pressure on, so they're sailing quite deep, they all got low on ley line. They couldn't get Jennikers off. And really, then it just turns into I'll throw the dice and hope like hell I can get around the mark and get my Jenniker down. And it was a restacking of the deck chairs, as we see now, heading up leg 3.
I was really impressed with Eshigoyen and Barcelo's manoeuvre. They obviously found themselves outside the ley line. They were patient. They let the upwind boats go past. They picked their moment to thread the needle. They nailed that bear away. And rather than panicking and trying to get around their initial mark, they kept clear of everyone, stayed out of trouble, sailed a little bit wider than they needed to, and just stayed out of trouble. And that has really, there's still one position in it here, but it was really on point handling from those girls to stay out of trouble.
It was. And then if we go back and look at Echigoyen, who looked really fast on the downwind, but probably sailed too far, they fell back into the pack, and now they are fighting tooth and nail for overall with Dobson and Tidy. So this is going to go right down to the wire for the gold and silver medal between Spain and GBR.
And Roble and Shea have sailed themselves into first place right now. That gives them the bronze medal, but right now with the results, close sailing.
So here we go. This is for the gold and silver. You've got the two main players, and they are within 2 boat lengths of each other. It's turning into a match race. Who's it going to be? This could come down to one mistake. Right now, the advantage just is with Echigoyen. But Dobson has been given a sniff, and look at them smoking through to leeward. GBR7 has got a roll on. They've got the bit between their teeth. This one is going to come right down to the wire, and it will come down to top mark approach, top mark rounding, set, and then picking up the ley line.
This tack is going to be super critical as well. You can see Tamara trying to close that gauge, and that might be to try to lock GBR7 out of that tack so she can be more in control of when the British team do make that tack. She's got to be careful though. GBR7, they've got wheels. You give them a sniff and they may well get across in.
Okay, that's ley line coming up. So we've got Germany, the attacking on ley line. That's 5. It's going to be just Echigoyen. Okay, tack. Simo tack. Who's it going to be? They sheet on. So that is complete. Right now, Spain will be putting a bit of gas onto GBR, but it's the top mark to go around the top mark clean, get the hoist. You can see GBR just being affected now by the flow coming off the trailing edge of the Spanish boat. Round they come. Echigoyen. Who's it going to be? Down they come. They get the bow down.
Really close rounding there, but GBR7 just getting in around. They've really got to nail this set to put pressure on the Spanish. They are quick downwind. And a little luff from USA and the Germans. And we're really struggling. And are we seeing...
That's it. That is it. Pressure has paid, and it is paid very dearly for Dobson and Tidy. They came round the top mark. They were a bit compromised because they were in the gas. They didn't get full control of their hoist, and I'm afraid over they go, and that will be the World Championship for them. And for Echigoyen, you've got to say they applied the pressure. Wow, it's a pressure game. Well.
And going back to US selection as well, as it stands right now, Roble and Shia taking the lead. They have secured themselves a bronze medal. They are racing for their Olympic dream and for a bronze medal at the World Championships, streaking ahead. Schutt and Nilsby have done a great job too, the Danish team. They're currently in second place.
Well, it's not for the light-hearted, is it? I mean, but I would put that down to pressure. I think from when Echigoyen came back and tacked on port, they went across, they held right out to the ley line when the boats tacked, they positioned themselves so that Dobson was in gas. So when they went round the top mark, they were slow, they got rolled. Their hoist was, the apparent wind would have been a long way aft, and it's very hard to control a skiff in a compromise, and over they went. Well,
here we are following these heroes down to the bottom mark. Echigoyen and Barcello, these guys have just been so solid this race, and I think it's their handling that's really helped them all but secure right now their World Championships as they make their way down to the finish line. We have got our first place over the line, Roble and Shia. They will win the medal race. Jurzok and Lorenz, Germany 55 in second place, and it will be Schutt and Nilsby in third place. Beckering and Dutz, Netherlands 1 in fourth place. And Echigoyen, Barcello, here they go, finishing your world champions, Echigoyen and Barcello. Congratulations to the Spanish girls.
yeah, great result. After the disappointment of Auckland, where injury plagued them, they were 54th. Not a true result for them, for sure, with injury. But to come back and win here in Geelong, and win, I think, with class. Win, putting pressure on the boat that they needed to beat, was a very classy performance by Tamara Echigoyen and Berta Betentos. And for the GBR combination, they'll learn from that, Charlotte Dobson and Sashka Tidy. I thought they were in there, they had a shot, but they really got corralled at that top mark rounding and forced into an error.
And yeah, just the manoeuvres by Tamara Echigoyen and Paolo Barcello, those girls, they're big and they're strong and they're powerful, and
Great
they
boat.
really do leg out. Their boat handling was absolutely spectacular, and I do believe that is what gave them the edge on this medal race today.
Yeah, and for third, for the American combination, if that is their Olympic berth, that's great for Stephanie Roble and Maggie Shea. Congratulations on a bronze medal, but also congratulations is in terms of, by the sound of it, their Olympic selection. That's impressive to walk away with third position.
Wow, what a race that was.
It was great.
Oh my goodness,
but
action.
it had a lot about it, what I saw in Auckland in December, where when the breeze gets up to close to 18, 20 knots, it seems to be like there's a fuse lit, and the manoeuvres, especially bottom mark gate. There was that famous picture from the Worlds in Auckland of Martine Grail wearing it and capsizing, and a great swan dive at the bottom mark that was captured on TV. I thought that was brilliant. Not dissimilar here. There was plenty of action. Great for the highlight reel.
And here we go, your silver medalists crossing the line now, Dobson and Tidy. Whilst they will be very disappointed, these girls right now, second place silver medal and an untouchable silver medal. Both teams have put together an absolute stellar performance this week, and their results should be something that they're